All right, let's dive into this Tottenham versus Newcastle match from January 4th, 2025. We've got match reports, post-game analysis, and even some insider info about Tottenham's struggles. And trust me, there's a lot more to uncover than just the scoreline.
Yeah, this match really does seem to highlight the bigger narrative surrounding both these clubs. You got Tottenham grappling with injuries, financial constraints, and now even the manager's decisions are being questioned. Meanwhile, Newcastle are on a roll, practically unstoppable, and they've got a striker who's on fire right now.
Okay, so just to recap for anyone who missed it, Newcastle won 2-1, securing their fifth consecutive Premier League victory. Tottenham, though, are stuck in a rut, just one win from their last 8 games.
And it wasn't just a win for Newcastle. It was a tactical masterclass. Eddie Howe really had his players exploiting Tottenham's weaknesses. Their direct, quick transitions completely tore apart Tottenham's makeshift defense.
Yeah, those goals came thick and fast early on. Solanke put Tottenham in the lead in the 4th minute. But just 2 minutes later, Gordon equalized for Newcastle. And then, in the 38th minute, Isak, who else, scored the winner.
7 goals in 7 matches for Isak. Some people might call it a hot streak, but there's a real strategy behind his success.
Yeah.
The way Newcastle is playing is creating these scoring opportunities for him. They're funneling the attack through him, and he's incredibly clinical in front of goal.
Newcastle's looking like a well-oiled machine right now, especially compared to Tottenham, who are missing 10 senior players. 10. Due to injuries and illness.
I can't even imagine trying to put together a decent team with that many players out. They even had to give their third-choice goalkeeper, Brandon Austin, his debut. He's been at the club for 8 years, but hasn't played a senior game since 2021.
Talk about being thrown in at the deep end. And it wasn't just the goalkeeper. Radu Dragusin, who wasn't fully fit himself, had to be taken off at halftime. It left them with a patched-up defense, which Newcastle, with their fast counter-attacking style, just ripped apart. For those who might not know, that basically means Newcastle win the ball and then immediately surge forward to catch the other team out of position.
Yeah, that first half was like a textbook example of counter-attacking football. Newcastle's speed and precision were just phenomenal, and it does make you wonder about some of Ange Postecoglou's decisions. He benched key players like Son, Maddison, and Bazuma, even though they desperately needed that experience.
It definitely raised some eyebrows, and Postecoglou was visibly frustrated throughout the match, especially with that handball decision that led to Newcastle's equalizer.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that handball. So it was a pass from Bergvall that hit Jolentina's hand, deflected to Guimarães, who then set up Gordon for the goal. Now, Jolentina's hand was probably close to his body, so it's debatable. Was his arm in an unnatural position? Did he make himself bigger? And even if it was unintentional, did it directly result in the goal being scored? The ref and VAR decided to let the goal stand, but it could have gone either way.
Postecoglou was fuming that they allowed it. He even said, "I'm angry that football wasn't what denied us getting the rewards we deserve today." There's definitely pressure building on him.
And it's not just the pressure of this one match. There are murmurs about Tottenham's financial situation possibly contributing to their struggles. Their wages-to-turnover ratio, the percentage of their revenue that goes towards player salaries, is the lowest in the Premier League, which could indicate underinvestment in the squad, leaving them more susceptible to injuries.
So, kind of like they've been playing with fire and now they're getting burned.
It's a possibility, yeah.
Yeah.
A thin squad will always struggle when key players are out.
Newcastle, on the other hand, are flying high. Eddie Howe was singing Isak's praises, saying, "Isak was in the right place at the right time. That's an art. He's on a hot streak. Long may that continue." This win puts Newcastle level on points with Chelsea, who are currently in 4th place, a Champions League spot.
Yeah, it's a remarkable turnaround for Newcastle, especially when you remember where they were just a month ago. That loss to Brentford in December made Champions League qualification feel impossible.
So what's been the key to this resurgence? Is it all down to Isak, or is there more to it?
Well, Isak is definitely a huge part of it, but it's not just him. Eddie Howe's system is playing to his players' strengths. That direct, counterattacking style we saw against Tottenham has been key to their success. They're happy to let the opposition have the ball and then strike with precision when they get a chance. It's a risky strategy, but it's clearly working.
You mentioned the handball controversy earlier. Let's dig into that a bit more. It's one of those things that gets fans arguing endlessly.
Yeah, for sure. Those borderline handball calls are a constant source of frustration in football. In this case, Joel Seekin's hand was close to his body. So the question is, was his arm in an unnatural position? Did he make himself bigger? And even if it wasn't intentional, did it directly lead to the goal? The referee and VAR decided to allow it, but it was a tough call. Could have easily gone the other way.
Postecoglou would definitely say it changed the game, and for Tottenham fans, it just adds to the frustration of a difficult season.
Yeah, it's got to be a tough one to swallow, especially with all of Tottenham's struggles this season, the injuries, the potential financial limitations, and now this controversial decision. It all puts a lot of pressure on the club.
Let's switch gears a bit and talk about Tottenham's manager, Ange Postecoglou. This is his first season in charge, and it's been a rough one so far.
He came in with a reputation for attacking football, focusing on possession. But the circumstances haven't exactly allowed him to put that into practice. It's hard to play the way you want when half your team is injured.
Yeah, it must be incredibly frustrating for him, trying to build something new while the ground is constantly shifting beneath you.
Exactly, and that's where the financial aspect comes in. If the rumors about Tottenham's limited spending are true, it makes Postecoglou's job even harder. Even with the best tactical plans, you need the right players to execute them. Otherwise, you're fighting a losing battle.
Like trying to build a skyscraper out of popsicle sticks. You might have a great vision, but the materials just aren't there.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Tottenham are in a tough spot right now. They need to figure out how to steady the ship and get through this rough patch.
So looking ahead, what's the outlook for Tottenham and Newcastle? Can they keep going the way they are?
Well, for Newcastle, things are looking pretty bright. They've found a system that works, got a striker in top form, and they're playing with so much confidence. A Champions League spot is definitely within reach, which would be a huge achievement for them.
It's incredible what a change of manager, some smart signings, and a bit of belief can do for a team.
It really is. As for Tottenham, it's a bit less clear. They need to sort out their injuries and maybe think about strengthening their squad in the transfer window. If they want to compete for the top spots, that is best to hear.
And don't forget the mental side of things. This run of bad form can be hard to turn around when confidence is low and the pressure's on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does feel like a turning point for both clubs. Newcastle seems to be on the verge of something special, while Tottenham are at a real crossroads.
Absolutely. This match went beyond just the result. It really showed where these two clubs are right now. Newcastle are hungry, organized, and playing so effectively. While Tottenham, well, they're struggling with internal problems and doubts from the outside.
It's been great dissecting all of this with you, unpacking all the layers of this match. So I guess the question is, can Tottenham turn things around?
Well, it's not impossible, but they need to act fast. First, those injuries need to be addressed. And then maybe they need to reconsider their approach to transfers. If they're serious about challenging for the top spots, that is...
And they have to regain that confidence. They need to find that same sense of purpose that we're seeing from Newcastle.
Exactly. You can see Eddie Howe has instilled that winning mentality at Newcastle. They're not just happy to avoid relegation anymore. They've set their sights much higher.
And with Isak scoring for fun, who knows what they can achieve?
This match was a real statement from Newcastle. They've shown everyone that they are a serious contender.
So we've covered the tactics, the controversial calls, and the different paths these two clubs are on. But before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a thought.
Go for it.
This Newcastle team, they remind me of another club, one that came out of nowhere to challenge the top teams. Remember Leicester City back in 2016? They went on to win the Premier League title against all odds. A real fairy tale story.
Yeah, classic. It just shows you how unpredictable football can be.
Exactly. So here's my question. Could Newcastle be the next Leicester City? Are we seeing the start of another incredible underdog story right before our eyes?
It's a fascinating thought, isn't it? They have the momentum, the belief, and a manager who's proving himself to be one of the best. I guess only time will tell if they can keep this up and achieve something truly special.
That's what's so great about football. Anything is possible. So everyone, keep an eye on Newcastle. They just might be the team that changes everything in the Premier League.